let me present both speakers, expert speakers that we have today. As I said, someone from the private and someone from the public sector. And I will present them in the reverse order. Mr. Anil Kumar, he is joining us. He is founder and group CEO of Sammunati. Sammunati is India's largest agri-enterprise. You will hear his story about Sammunati, its work. So I'll not go in depth about that. But Mr. Kumar has a long experience both in banking and in agro-food sector activities, not only in doing, in practicing, but also participating in policy arenas and policy discussions. And then we will have Ms. Nadine Gbossa. Nadine works for the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, one of the Rome agencies of the UN, as a director of food systems coordination, and coordinating, amongst others, the 3FS initiative on food systems finance that she will explain about in a minute. So we're very pleased, Nadine and Anil, that you are joining us, and that you will share your insights and also will react on the discussion that we will have in the chat room today. Nadine, without further ado, can I give you the floor and enlighten us with your thoughts and insights?
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you today. And I've been given the task to tell you about the role of public finance in food systems, and also the way basically we can contribute to the food system transformation agenda. But before that, I'm supposed to give you my drive and the reason why I'm in the food system sector. I must say that all my career, about the past 25 years, I've been working in the sector of agriculture and rural development. I mean, working in the policy areas in organizations like OECD or like IFAD or a different international organization or UNCTAD promoting this agenda. But what has been very dear to my heart is basically to work with SMEs, and especially African SMEs, agri-food SMEs, and how to promote opportunities and investment for those organizations. From there, I moved into the food system agenda about 4 years ago, which it came by accident, I must say, but has become one of the most exciting assignments I've had, to embrace the food system agenda, because it really allowed me to grow from the agriculture, the agri-food value chain to what is food system transformation today. And I always tell people that I believe that alongside climate change, it might be one of the biggest challenges the world is facing, but I think it's not known enough. So this is what my passion is, to contribute to that. Let me proceed. I suppose you are now seeing my screen. So giving you a bit of background, I believe, but if you are not, it's not a big deal, that most of you will be familiar with the UN Food System Summit, United Nations Food System Summit, that took place basically in 2021. And basically the UN Secretary General called the world leaders, I mean the civil society, the business leaders, around a massive global food system summit. That's what the UN can do, convene people when an issue is important enough. I mean, it's one of the only institutions which has a capacity to convene the whole world around the topic, and it was about food systems. Realizing that the way we produce the food and the outcome, produce, process, distribute, prepare, consume, and the outcomes was having an impact on food security and nutrition, on environmental sustainability, on resilience, and also was not meeting the objective of decent incomes and working conditions for those who operate our food systems. But most importantly, because today we are discussing financing, was how do we address this issue? And it was assessed that it would take about 350 to 400 billion a year to move to performing food system. And that's a figure I want you to keep in mind, because it was said that this money is as much about public money than private money. And half of it should actually come from private source, and the other half from public resources. And many people think it's a big amount, but it's also to be put in perspective. For example, that OECD countries spend about $700 billion of subsidies on agriculture every year. So it was really felt that this is something that is reachable, knowing that it's not new money. I already start giving you the link between the public and the private financing, because not only this, the share of the public financing going to food systems should basically be scaled and provide funding for food system financing and investment, but it also must catalyze and de-risk private investment, but positive private investment, which can lead to food security, environmental sustainability, resilience, but also decent income and livelihood for those who operate the food systems. I've been asked, what is the IFAD role? And I'm going to go fast because I'm really getting to my 4 minutes. Is that for those of you don't know, is that IFAD is the international financial institution which is 100% dedicated to financing food system transformation and providing investment to developing countries, government and the private sector. Basically conducive investment. Again, because in this agenda on financing food system transformation, the developing countries are the most challenged. We leave the countries of the North to finance on their own budget the transformation of the food systems, but the developing countries are challenged in financing that. I mean, UNCTAD says that it would take 40% of the GDP, and this is not the only challenge they meet. So basically, IFAD ensured that the issues of food systems and action are connected, that the financing look at the issue of food security, of nutrition, of decent income, of sustainability, of resilience, and also not only relying on public money, but really leveraging money from the capital markets and investing this into projects in support of government. It is for this reason that the UN Secretary General asked IFAD, when we talk about food system transformation, can you lead the agenda, the discussion on financing? And here I'm going to move very quickly to the 3FS tool that was developed by IFAD and the World Bank in support of the Food System Coordination Hub, which lead the food system agenda, which is a tool which tracks financial flows to food systems. Why did we do this? As we were asked to lead the financing agenda for food system transformation, one question came quickly. Everybody is talking about we need to increase financing going to food systems. We need to scale it. We need to optimize it. We need to de-risk it. And we need to ensure that the amounts that are going there are reaching higher level. So as together with the World Bank, we were asked, please lead this agenda. We ask a simple question to people in order to assess progress. How much are you putting into food systems? We started asking all the governments, all the private companies, how much are you putting into food systems? So that we have a benchmark to see if the public or private money to food system is really being scaled up. And then what was very interesting is that nobody could answer, because people started asking, but what is food systems financing? What is it? How do we assess it? And whether it's a government from the global north or from the global south, nobody could answer. And we felt that if we have to assess effort in mobilizing and scaling financing to food systems, we must keep track of progress. And this is why you see all this logo, all this organization came together. I will finish by saying that food system financing, when we started looking at what it is, we look at 3 sources of financing, 3 main sources: national budget, domestic public financing, and international development finance, which means grants and concessional financing. And here we are talking specifically of developing countries because they cannot finance a food system transformation just on their national budget. And of course, the third source is private sector. And for us, it is important that we always look, you can ask me, of course, core, what about public finance or private finance? But what we felt is that government must be able to handle these 3 sources of financing in complementarity, like a budget at home. The domestic public financing might be what the wife is bringing home as a salary, and the development partner's money is what the husband brings, and maybe one child is contributing. And when it's a whole budget of the family, you cannot choose one or the other. You have to understand who is financing what. And basically what we say that is that we define, while some of the family members will be financing one or more of this component, it's the money going to agriculture, money going to infrastructure for food system, nutrition and health, social assistance, food assistance, and climate change and natural resources. So we felt that this family of government, development partners, and private sector working together, that's what they should look at. And I will finish by saying that we realize that when the last food system summit took place, called by the Secretary General in July, financing was center stage because, as you all follow, the world is changing and the projection on financing food system transformation are not good. Debt distress is increasing in about 40% of the developing countries. There's major cuts in development finance, increasing conflict, climate shock, and import tariff are rising. We also see that there's a more struggle in developing countries to attract private capital, and the funding gaps between the needs for support and the delivery of the financing for food system transformation is increasing. So basically, this means that it was important for us to empower government and decision maker with insight on what's happening on financing. What are the insights and trends in public and private financing? What are the opportunities? What are the risks when development partners, for example, are falling short of expectation? What does it mean for a developing country so that they can have quicker respond and effective financing strategy, looking at public resources, private resources, and also market resources. But most importantly, we have seen a big call in developing countries for country-owned financing solution, that countries must come and lead on their own financing solution, bringing the right mix of financing, public, private, philanthropic, and making sure that they own it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadine. That was very, very enlightening and energetic. I liked your recap of the urgency of food systems finance. And I also like your metaphor of the family budgets with different sources of money coming in through the husband, the wife, the children, and any others under that same roof. That's a very nice way to look at the role of different actors in this financial system. Thank you for that.